Welcome, welcome, welcome back to another Off-Leash podcast presented by Voyager Dog Food. Today, I am at VMX, the Veterinary Meeting Expo down in Orlando, Florida, and I am across from Andrea. You're going to have to remind me of your last name.
Libretti.
Libretti. What history is that? What
Libretti?
Libretti. Was that?
I'm half Italian, half Lithuanian.
Okay, I was
Libretti is
say.
Obviously Italian.
I was going to say that's a very Italian name. Libretti from...
There's a restaurant in New Jersey named Libretti's. It's still named Libretti's. It was my grandfather's. Yes.
Really? I love that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it's a very Italian name. Yeah. I was like, it has to be Italian. My second guess was Greek. I don't know why. Yeah. So, and you are with a company called...
Myos. M-Y-O-S.
Okay, so I have never heard of Myos before, so you are going to give me the whole down low. Obviously, I heard from Dr. Anna Marie because she highly recommended your product.
Thank you.
And tell me about what you guys offer.
So Myos is a company that's been around about 14 years. We actually started in the human space when it comes to the importance of muscle health in humans.
Was it Yoked?
Yoked is our human product. We also have Myos MD, which is fairly new the past year or so. But the scientist who founded the company, he has since moved on and formed another company. He was really big into keeping in shape, especially as he aged, and he knew muscle health was so important to longevity.
Yes.
Somehow fertilized chicken egg yolk came into the picture, and that's how the company was formed.
Fertilized
chicken egg yolk powder.
Okay.
And we call that ingredient fortotropin, and it's a powder.
Okay.
So that's, as our CEO says, that's a sexy name for raw fertilized chicken egg yolk powder. Fortotropin.
That is crazy. And they use, so like bodybuilders use it, like regular people use it.
Regular people, people with injuries, they'll double up like athletes. We have some on NHL teams who take the human formula.
What?
It's kind of a little hidden gem. We are not a protein supplement because we're fertilized chicken egg yolk. A lot of protein exists in the egg whites and the phosphorus levels. We don't. We're below AFCO guidelines on the animal side. But on both sides of the fence, what Myos does and fertilized chicken egg yolk powder, it's going to help increase lean muscle mass when you consume it, reduce muscle atrophy, which is most important, and reduce serum myostatin levels in our bodies.
Okay.
So some people don't know, myostatin is a protein that exists in our bones and muscles. It was discovered only about 30 years ago. It actually puts a brake on you making muscle. So when you get injured, you have inflammation set in and some muscle atrophy. Your myostatin levels actually rise. It puts a brake on you making muscles. I like to say in a layman's terms, it's a defense mechanism.
Okay.
Because if our bones grow way too fast, too soon, they're going to break. Our bodies can't handle it. There's Herculean disease, which is rare. People are short in stature. They have big muscles. They don't live long.
Really?
And then you have the Belgian blue bull on the animal side that has no myostatin in it. But they can handle being big creatures because they're just so big.
Right.
So myostatin will put a brake on you making muscles, but when you consume fortotropin, you're avoiding that muscle atrophy, which we showed in our TPLO study.
Wow.
That's super important, on top of gaining that lean muscle mass and improving recovery.
That is awesome. That's crazy. So do you guys have contracts with different sports teams, or how do you sell right now?
So
the
on
yolk
the yolk stuff, we do have some influencers. We're small.
Yeah.
But we're out there, and you have your ambassadors and whatnot, and we do very well in DTC.
Okay.
And then on the animal side, this is the breadwinner in the company, believe it or not.
Okay.
We started on the human side, been in this space 6.5 years. We now have 15 products for dogs, cats, and horses.
You know what? I so believe that the dog and cat side is your bread and butter. The animal side, I should say. Just because people are so programmed, I think, in our generation, just to spend more on our pets, because a lot of people are not having kids nowadays. Now everyone's having dogs. They're like, oh, I'm pet parents. Like, I'm not a real parent. I'm a pet parent.
Exactly, and they will spend good money. They're part of the family.
They will.
We grew dramatically during the pandemic because everybody was adopting dogs.
Yeah.
That's where the growth spurt came from.
Yeah.
I've been here since the beginning, and it's been this amazing journey. Just being in this industry in general is just a beautiful thing.
I know so many people that are like, there's one little thing wrong with their dog, got to take it to the vet. But if anything's wrong with them, nope. I'm just going to take some NyQuil and call it good.
Well, and I think, too, even younger generations, they're really cognizant about what they're putting in their own bodies and their dogs' bodies.
So
There's a lot of they don't drink anymore. Like the young people, they're not drinking. My daughters barely drink. They're in their 20s. It's amazing. They really take care of themselves.
Yeah.
They're applying the same principles to their pets.
I think that's the health conscientious side of things has definitely become more prominent in the last couple of years. I know so many people, like I've been sober now for 2 years just because I don't like drinking. I don't like the feeling of drinking. I think I have like 2-day hangovers when I do drink. And all of a sudden there's been all these products coming out with like mocktails, non-alcoholic, fake spirit type deals.
I think it's a beautiful thing.
It is. So your company is like on the rise because this is definitely the trend that we're going in.
And it's all natural. There's like no fillers, no ingredients, like crazy ingredients. We just came out with the new Vet Super Formula Plus. It contains our fortotropin for muscle health, and it contains eggshell membrane, which was a happy marriage. Obviously, it's part of the egg.
Yeah.
And then green lip muscle. So it's comprehensive for joint and then top of the muscle. So it's a great 3-in-1 product.
Okay.
No fillers. Just 3 all natural ingredients.
Joint wise, do you recommend dogs going on it that are already having joint problems or that they want to be proactive?
So when we do educate in our lunch and learns, one of our last slides is our 4-pillar slide, because people say, what dog should be taking this? We think any type of dog could be taking fortotropin, because you got to pay attention to muscle. Muscles control the joints. The two work synergistically.
Right.
So everybody just immediately jumps to joint supplements. Nothing wrong with it, but we're making a rouse in the industry about muscle health.
Right.
We really need to start talking about it because muscles control those joints.
They do.
Strong muscles, you'll have less wear and tear on those joints.
Okay.
So if you had to break it up into categories, you have your proactive and preventative crowd. That stems from the success of our sporting dog and agility people. They were talking about us in Facebook groups like 5 years ago. We had no idea.
Isn't that funny that people will sell your product before you even sell it?
The
You're
word
like,
of mouth,
oh
the consumer-based fan base is our agility people. So they're using it as a preventative and being proactive with their pups. They're starting to train for competition. They're
That's
keeping
awesome.
them strong. Then you have your injured crowd, which we showed in our TPLO study. But what about a dog or cat who needs an operation and the pet owner can't afford it? It happens every day, right? Mm-hmm. Inflammation sets in and atrophy. Well, they can't afford it, but wow, can you put them on a natural supplement that's going to help them heal somewhat because they can't have that surgery?
Right.
Then you have your geriatric crowd, which is anecdotally how this division was founded. And then we proved it with our science and our load study and our recent CKD feline study. And then you have your athletic crowd, which I call our search and rescue canine crowd. We've got entrenched with the canine working dog handler community the past 3 years. It's been a pet project of mine. Unsung heroes in my eyes, the recent hurricanes, the fires.
Yeah.
I know handlers have been deployed. These dogs are such athletes. They need to recover and keep strong. Maybe they'll be able to work longer.
Right.
Because they're on fortotropin.
That's awesome.
So that's been an exciting sector that we've gotten into in the industry, and just is really special people.
Where's the company based out of?
We're out of New Jersey.
Okay.
Cedar Knolls, New Jersey.
Okay, that's awesome. Wow. And it's all direct to consumer.
We're with distribution.
Okay.
We're with some big distributors. We sell direct to. We're on Vetco, VetSource.
Amazon?
Amazon is our direct-to-consumer line. Then we have a vet-exclusive line. You won't find an Amazon or like Chewy.
Oh, I'll have to look you guys up on Amazon. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Tell me, in your career of doing this, like one of the most influential, inspiring stories that you've seen from the product.
That's a really good question. God, there's so many.
I know. I work with a dog food company, so we get people calling up all the time, and it makes it worth the job. Like people call up in tears and they're like, your company saved my dog, or your company, like,
well, I think
my dog's a puppy again.
One of the most popular testimonials we get continuously, I even had a vet who came up to me yesterday and tell me, love you guys. My old guy was on it for 2 years. I swear I had 2 extra years with her because of your formula.
That's amazing.
Hand to God. My dog was on it for 4.5 years. We had to put her down 15 months ago. She was 16. Happened really fast, like in 5 days. We all eventually cross. Hopefully there's a rainbow bridge out there.
Yeah.
Even my vet who uses the product was like, Andrea, like to have a half Border Collie lab mix be till 16, 50 plus pounds, Marley lived a good life.
Aww.
And I believe, so when that vet told me that, I shared my story with her. I go, you don't understand. I go, this is one of the biggest testimonials we get. I had 6 more months. And we're talking months of joy, not selfish months.
Right.
Where, you just don't want to, but they're suffering.
Yeah.
And that's what the vet was. So that's a really popular testimonial that we all get teary-eyed when we hear that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's sweet.
Okay, so before we started the podcast, you were actually telling me about, I think it was the owner of the company? Who was the veterinarian that does all the work on the hunting dogs?
Oh, so Dr. Sherman Knapp. I met with Dr. Sherman Knapp and Deborah about 5.5 years ago when we started out with one of our scientists, and they came on board quickly.
Okay.
They're so great to work with. And so every ortho procedure they do prescribe, and they recommend all these dogs recovering to go on our Fortitropin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they've been really great partners, great people to work with. They've used the product. They've seen results. And then, like I said, our rehab community, too, is our top professional customer base because they're seeing muscle growth in these dogs they're rehabbing, their multimodal management. They're feeling it and they're measuring it. So when you measure and see results in muscle growth, the word just spreads in the rehab community. So we can't thank them enough because they are testament to this stuff does work.
Yeah. And it's just something that you add. Just so that I know, it's just a powder that you sprinkle over your dog's food every day.
Yeah, I would consider it a meal topper. It's kind of like a little treat for the dogs. Some people do snacks. I have a vet at NC State. Her dog's a voracious eater. She's like, Andrea, on Sundays I make peanut butter balls and I freeze them because they make a mess with the powder. And
that's actually a good idea.
Yeah, and we do like have recipes and stuff. But I
oh my
said,
gosh,
Lauren,
social media ideas right there.
Yeah, we do some social with that. And I said,
love
Lauren,
that.
you're so smart. She's like, so my Sunday afternoons I'm making them peanut butter balls so they don't make a mess in my house.
That is very smart, actually.
Yeah.
Because I have labs and they are terribly messy.
Yeah.
Terribly messy eaters. I swear. I put a bowl down and I'm like, I don't even know why I put a bowl down because it ends up, you're eating it so fast, it ends up like halfway across the floor.
Yeah.
So that is a wonderful idea. Or puzzle bowls.
And what?
Puzzle bowls. Have you seen the puzzle bowl?
Yeah, puzzle bowls. We just rescued a dog. She's a hound mix.
Yeah.
And she came from a shelter in Kentucky and then New Jersey shelter, and we got her. They think she's 2+ years. And she's getting the powder everywhere. I'm like, oh, do I have to do peanut butter balls too for her? And her name's Miss Snoopy.
Oh.
We kept the name. We thought it was so cute.
How did you end up adopting this dog?
So we weren't ready. My husband was not ready for the longest time. It's been 15 months since we put Marley down. And I saw Miss Snoopy on an Instagram with St. Hubert's in New Jersey. And I just fell in love. And I'm like, we have to go see this dog.
The damn social media marketing people
I
at these
know.
adoption. I get it all the time on my TikTok now where I'm scrolling and they're like, this dog's 2 days away from getting euthanized. And I'm like, oh, I want to go get it.
We did it really fast. My husband and I, and my youngest daughter is almost 25. And I didn't think we were going to leave with the dog that day. I just thought we were going to visit it.
It never works out that
And
way.
it just really happened really fast. And she wasn't house trained. So we're having a lot of fun.
Oh, no. The house training. How old did you say the dog was
They
again?
think 2+.
2+.
Because they check the tartar on the teeth.
Okay.
And she was spayed. And then she had her first vet visit last week. I went to a practice in New Jersey by me. I wanted to go to an Eastern Western vet because we want to get her off the drugs because of the trauma.
Yeah.
She's a bit skittish. But it's been the 3 weeks, the 3-3-3 rule
Yeah.
when you adopt. So it's been 3 weeks, and definitely love again in the household. There's joy again in the household. She's really taken to us. She's lovey-dovey. We just got to get the potty trained done.
Okay. Yeah, you kind of got to, do you crate train?
We got a crate from one of my best friends. Thank God. She likes her crate.
Okay.
My hubby would like her in the bed, and I'm like, she's too big. She's too
And the
bigger
potty
than Marley.
training, yeah.
I'm like, no.
So I train dogs. I used to train dogs for a hot
really?
minute. Yeah, I train hunting dogs. But you gotta, with the potty training, I did have a dog come in one time that had trouble with the potty training it too. And you kind of gotta like revert back to that puppy stage.
That's what a vet just told me yesterday.
You
Thank
put them in the crate, and then at nighttime, you wake up every morning like 5 or 6 o'clock. You let them out immediately after they go potty. Feed them a treat, and then you got to be very careful walking around in the house and don't
She'll
scold.
do the dance.
Yeah, don't scold the dog unless you watch them have the accident. That's what I
So
always
she
do.
did that to me the other day. We went out. She didn't pee. She came inside, and I turned around, and she missed the puppy pad. I'm like, really?
Yeah. So I just take them right over to that spot, and I give them a firm no. If I watched them do it, I'll just go no. And then a lot of people make the mistake of taking them back outside to go potty, and it's like a reward.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like,
well, they
oh,
already went. So.
Yeah, and so you put them back in the crate and you ignore them for like 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
Like completely ignore. And then they're sitting there like, I just want attention and you just yelled at me.
But it's funny when she did that the other day, and I didn't tell my husband. I did take her back, and I looked at it, and I looked at her, and I said no. Mm-hmm. So I was doing it right.
Oh yeah.
And she's obviously that hunting dog, Molly, because She's the hound mix.
Yeah.
So she does the baying, which is really cool.
Oh.
But she was pulling like crazy.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, let's buy a gentle leader. And then my husband canceled it because he thought it makes the dog look mean. So we have a harness with a tactical leash.
Okay. I can teach you about this too.
Oh, I would love it because I want her to be by my side. I
Heel.
want her to control me. I want to be able to control her.
Okay, I got you. So what you're going to do from here on out, not here on out, from here on to like the next 6 months to a year, whenever she gets it, every mealtime is going to be from your hand.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. So
She
you're
eats
going
a lot, though.
I know, but that's going to help the bond because the
Okay.
dog is going to see the bowl as, oh, that's the food. But there's like this disconnect with dogs if they don't understand the food comes from you. So like a lot of people think, well, I feed them, they know that food comes from me. No, they don't know that food's coming from you unless you feed them by hand. So what I do every day with my puppies is I wake up early, let them go outside, go potty, and I take them in and I get a bowl full of food and I will grab it in my hand and I will make that dog like kind of follow my hand with the food and then do sit, heel, and then I'll walk around like have them follow me next to my hand and say heel, heel, and then they'll follow it, sit, and then drop a little bit in their mouth.
Wow.
So you kind of like associate that heel with the food, and that way they're constantly looking up at you. And then you can even get it to the point where you do nonverbals, where they're following your hand, and then you pick your hand up, and then they know that that's sit. And then you feed them from that. So they bond with you so much better when you are the direct food source.
And not only that is I've been reading a lot with the Canine Training, I think, Foundation. They train the service dogs, and then now they're trying to teach everyday pet owners. It's all your body language. Don't just use. So I picked that up when you mentioned that. And my husband's remote every day. I'm hybrid. So I'd love to take this education back to him and say, Ed, this is what we got to do in the morning. This is what we've learned. Because we need to nip it in the bud.
Yeah.
It's just he thinks he's a dog whisperer, but he's not, Molly.
And it's so hard. It's so hard with people with significant others because it's two people training the dog. One person, it's always consistent. It's always the same. Two people, there might be little variations in the training. So it's hard. The dog's like, well, with this person, they let me get away with this. And with this person, they let me get away with this.
No, we got to be a team.
Yep,
Absolutely.
you got to be a team together. And I know some dog trainers are even like, oh, it just has to be one person training the dog. But that's not realistic. You might leave the house and your husband has to do the potty training and you might come back and it never works out that way. So I always just say you need to have really similar communication and be very diligent and consistent and patient.
Yes. Well, when we first got her, I was so frustrated initially. Let's get a trainer. I'm in the industry. And we're arguing with one another. I'm like, you're not a dog whisperer. He's like, you just want to spend money. I'm like, no, I want to nip it in the bud.
No, I can help you.
Because you forget from rearing a puppy each 3 months, puppies can get away with it. But here you have a 2+ month.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she wasn't house trained, but we knew that. Oh my God. But now, like I said, Joy is back in the house.
Yes.
And so now, like you said, they have to be patient, but I'm also towards the bowl. So
I totally get that. I can help you with these problems.
Okay,
I know some dog trainers charge an arm and a leg, and I'm like, holy cow. I just had someone that reached out to me, and they were like, oh, could you help me with my dog, blah, blah, blah. What are your prices? And I was like, oh, I come over to people's houses for like $40 and teach them.
Wow.
And they're like, oh, well, I just paid a dog trainer $300. I'm like, for like a month or something? And they're like, no, for like 2 hours. I'm like,
oh my God.
oh my gosh, I've been underselling myself.
Yeah, you have. Definitely.
But yeah, I didn't mean to get into the dog training. I was lucky enough to shadow somebody that did dog training for a while, and I just picked up all these tips and tricks. And
That's wonderful. We're very giving in that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. If you have any other questions about dog training, throw them at me, and I'll be.
I think the hunting part is really interesting because obviously Miss Snoopy by nature is a hunting dog.
Yeah.
So we think she's more of a coonhound.
Yeah. The hunting thing is hard, especially with those tracking dogs, because you can't get mad when they go off because they're just following their instinct.
Yeah.
But the e-collars definitely, I know a lot of people don't like e-collars, but the e-collars definitely help even with just the vibrate function. You don't have to get after them every time. Even if you just give them like the little, you've gone too far. And then they have that sense of, oh, okay, I need to go back to where my owner is.
She's definitely a flight risk because she's so fast.
Yes.
So we live in a townhome community. We have to have her on the leash. I would not trust her at this point in time, even with the e-collar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
or
you
just
can
running in the woods.
You can take this is another training thing that you can do. I know that you can set the e-collars, especially I think it's the dog trust, to like a very, very low shock setting, like I'll put it on my wrist and I'll barely feel it. I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't bad. So you have like a very big variation of what you can set it to. But if you go to a dog park and use the food again as the breakfast and you let your dog go around and play, what's your dog's name?
Miss Snoopy.
Miss Snoopy. So you say, Miss Snoopy, here. And then you keep saying here, and then like maybe you'll give the dog a buzz on the collar and you'll hold that buzz until the dog comes to you. And then as soon as the dog comes to you, like in your vicinity, you release. Because a lot of people, they use the e-collar incorrectly and just zap, 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 zap. And it's inconsistent. And the dog's like, what's happening? Yeah. But if you hold that consistency here, 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 and then once the dog starts coming to you, that's when you can release.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Oh, thank you.
So if you ever decide to do the e-collar training, it's that consistency and the patience.
Yeah. Pavlov's response.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Well, I really enjoyed having you on and learning all about your product. Oh, maybe we should touch that you just released a new equine product.
Yes, we did. Well, actually, it's about a year young, and we just released it as a 30-day and a 60-day supply in like a smart pack. Single dose serving, especially great for traveling.
Okay.
So
I have horses, so
that's great.
I'd love to learn about it.
It's interesting because we've been around in this space for 6.5 years, but this literally is a whole new animal for us. And we're small. We're 3 salespeople and like about 15 people in the company. So 2025, we hope to get our footing, pun intended, this year with equine.
Yeah.
We have success. I mean, my main vet, Dr. Jeff Vernon, was using the dog product off-label for 8 months about 4 years ago on horses, and I had no idea.
Oh, wow.
And he saw great top-line development, weight gain, muscle building, EPM horses, and he was so instrumental. Like, you guys should go do a small horse study.
Yeah.
So we did at Petaluma Equine, Circle Oak in California, retired thoroughbred racehorses, and we just mixed orthotropin with some sugar. Everyone says horses are herbivores. Will they eat it? Yes, some horses are eating it straight up, even though it's eggs. And then some are obviously adding like molasses or whatever, a favorite flavoring to it. But Jeff's clientele, Olympic vet to equestrian teams and thoroughbred racehorses are using it. We need to get our bandwidth out there.
Yeah,
we're
most
small,
definitely.
But the people are trying, are liking it. Some horses aren't eating it, some are eating it. It's just a matter. And Jeff said, Andrea, my trainers don't know what to do to get the horses to eat.
Right.
That's all I care about. I'm like, that's all I care about too. So.
Right, exactly. So That's awesome. And if people want to look up your product, if you want to plug your social media or your website or whatever.
MyospET, MYOSPET.com.
Awesome.
All of our studies are on there, True Human as well.
Awesome. And so you can find Yoked on there as well?
No, Yoked is a different vertical. So
Okay.
it's yoked.com, YOLKED.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming
Molly.
on
It was
today.
fun.
Of course. And I enjoyed learning about your product
Thank
and
you.
teaching you about dog training. And
Yes, thank you about all the great tips. I appreciate it.
Of course. And thank you all for listening today. And we hope that you join us for the next episode of Off Leash. And we will see you on the next one.